Welcome to the revolution. Elon Musk files to back out of the Twitter deal. Crazy. I did not see this coming. Honestly, I thought it was going to go through. We saw all of the things that were going wild and crazy at Twitter, all of their all hands on deck meetings, all of the footage that was leaked from Project Veritas discussing all of the, people jumping the metaphorical ship with Twitter, talking about, layoffs and stuff. And now Twitter stock has essentially plummeted. I mean, they lost like $4 worth of their stock, which is like billions and billions of dollars of evaluation for their company. So wild. Now, I have a theory about this. I mean, I think Elon Musk is smart enough to have potentially pulled this off and maybe did this entire thing on purpose to basically show the public how many bots are actually on your social media handles or on your social media networks that you're on. And I think it could have all been a big brain plan that he had put together. But let's read this article real quick and then we will discuss it. All right, it goes on to say that Elon Musk is terminating his $44 billion deal to buy Twitter, but the company vowed Friday to still complete the deal, setting the stage for a legal battle that could lead to more turmoil and uncertainty for the social media network. This is coming off of the Chicago Post. And it says, after months of growing doubt that he intended to close the deal, Musk's lawyer sent a letter to Twitter arguing that he has a right to drop out of the agreement because Twitter hasn't given him enough information about the company's business. Musk's filing was blunt about his intentions. He is terminating their merger agreement. The letter attached in the Securities and Exchange Commission's filing Friday said. Now, it goes on to say that, but Twitter's board hit back at the billionaire, saying that it would pursue legal action to enforce the deal. Legal experts have said it would be difficult for Musk to just walk away from the agreement. The agreement also has a $1 billion breakup fee. I like how they say that. Legal experts. Like, who's legal experts? Who are these people? Like, yeah, they passed the bar once 7 years ago, and now you paid them $500 to say something that aligned with your article. Like, legal experts. Like, please define that. And maybe even tell us who they are. That seems to be important. Like, who are these legal experts that you are using to describe what could actually go down here? But it is interesting to note that there is a $1 billion breakup fee. Haven't really seen that in contracts before, but I would venture to bet that it will be pretty detrimental to Twitter's stock. I mean, it already has been immediately. Immediately, it was detrimental to Twitter's stock, but it goes on to say that Twitter has plunged into chaos since Musk announced his intentions to take over the firm in April. Employees fearing layoffs and a significant change of operations under the billionaire have been looking for new jobs as Musk has regularly aired his criticisms of the business in tweets of his own. And the billionaire's move to exit the deal leaves Twitter's reputation in jeopardy with its future ownership in flux. And again, this is coming right after they had basically a CEO change, that Palagali, I don't know, whatever the guy's name is. But basically the guy who said that he vowed to have more censorship, coming off of going on to the platform, which was obviously a very concerning thing for a large portion of the country. And then immediately, almost after that CEO change, which makes you think even more, maybe they had a little bit more information about it than we thought. But it goes on to say that it's discombobulated their whole operation. Said Carl Tobias, law professor at the University of Richmond. It's going to be tough for Twitter to weather this. Now, I think it's interesting. I think it's a really interesting thought experiment here to assume that Elon Musk could potentially be the smartest man in the world alive today. I think it's pretty safe to say that he's at least in the top 10 of intellect in the world. Now, he's also potentially in the top 10 in the world for trolling. He's probably on a lot of lists here. But he's, trolling and intellect are definitely the top 10s that you can say that Elon is a part of. So here's my theory. I think that Elon Musk could have done this all intentionally. I think Elon Musk would have been willing to take a $1 billion hit to basically expose the entire social media world and show that it's basically at least 50% of the people that you're interacting with or you think you're interacting with could potentially be bots. And now bots don't just mean like AI algorithms. Bots mean huge swarms, like big, picture big, huge call centers from like the 90s of like a bunch of people picking up the phone and dialing, 500 times every 2 minutes. Now picture them on social media networks with 30 phones in front of them, all running different accounts, all liking, following, tweeting the same things, all, going after a single individual, all of these same people reporting the same account at the same time on the same tweet for the same reason. That's what the bot farming deal is. It's not, computer AI algorithms all of the time. Now, there is definitely a differentiation there between the bots that are out there that like you can pay for certain companies that will like follow and unfollow different accounts and, send out messages on your behalf. And you can do that BS, but I believe the things that he's talking about specifically, the concern with the bots is that they're fake accounts. They're not real people, but they're also not robots sitting on Twitter. They're real people sitting there with 30 phones in front of them with specific political and financial intentions. Right? Because if you know how to, if you think of it this way, and I think I've talked about this before, that, the Jungian theory of the collective unconscious. Right? The collective unconscious is the internet. And if it's nothing else, it is social media, right? And you can see where the collective swarm of consciousness goes on any given day. If you go to the trending page on Twitter, what is the major, the humanity's brain thinking of and discussing at the same exact time, right? What is everybody's mind on at each individual moment, right? And you can see that swarm go from one topic to another day by day, from, the Johnny Depp trial to, the shootings to the political scandals to this, to that, to hearings, to, you can see the swarm and where it goes and where consciousness as humanity goes to, specifically based on social media. Right? You can go to the trending page. You can see exactly what is on the collective unconscious at any given time. All right. So now there's one theory that he was basically buying Twitter so that he could eventually use the data of human consciousness and that collective unconscious to eventually integrate it with his Neuralink technology or his AI technology. That's one theory. And that's definitely a real theory, right? I think if you're going to purchase, the largest amount of human thoughts ever and be able to utilize that data however you want, there's definitely, probably a conflict of interest if somebody owns an AI company. I think that's fair to say. Now, a different theory is that he did all of this specifically just to expose the social media companies for what they were and to show to be able to extract out social media companies from having to show the numbers, right? He says, how many bots do you have? It was like maybe a week after he asked for this report on how many bots they had. And now he's all of a sudden he's pulling out. Now he says it's because you guys didn't give me enough data. Right? And that's fair. But what data is he talking about? He's talking about the data of the bots. He's wanting to know what percentage of your actual numbers are physical people and what are political calls, bot farms in Russia, in China, in Delaware. I think that's a fair thing for him to want to know. So he extracted that information from them in a way that no other person on this world or planet could have done. Right? He put them into a position. He backed them into a corner where he said, I'm going to buy your company. They said, no, you're not. He said, oh, yes, I am, because if you don't let me do this, it's against the best interest of your shareholders. And legally, you have to do what's in the best interest of your shareholders. And prior to him knowing he was going to close this deal, he knew the steps that he had to take. And one of those steps was figuring out the actual physical numbers of the amount of traffic through his social media network that he was looking to purchase that were real people and what was fake. And that's where it got interesting. And within a week of him receiving that report, that's when he pulled out. Okay. Now, if he did this all in a collective, a purposeful idea to go after these social media companies and to basically expose them for what they are, 50% potentially of the people that you interact with on social media could not be real people. Their intentions could be fake. Their political leanings could be fake. Their extremist, violent speech could be fake. Their incitement of political, Protests could be fake. Basically half the internet could be Ray Epps sitting there telling people they're going into the Capitol on January 6th. So I don't know. I guess time will tell. We'll see if this actually goes through. It's funny right now. If you look up Elon Musk, Twitter backs out. Look it up anywhere. Google News, wherever the hell you get what you look at. Go look it up. Find some articles through a search engine. And the only thing you're going to see on articles is not about him pulling out and why. It's just about the fact that there's legal ramifications to him doing so. Which is interesting too, because Google doesn't want you to know the reason, right? The curated search engines don't want you to know why he actually could be potentially pulling out of this deal. They want you to know that there is legal and financial ramifications for him doing so, which is interesting. Right. So I thought that was, I tried to find the easy article initially, right when this happened about, why he was pulling out, what the deal was with it, just read something about it. And the only articles that I could find, at least in the first few pages, all had to do with the fact that there was a potential buyout cost, that, they were going to sue him, that, all of this craziness, but you don't actually get down to the bottom of the article where it actually, eventually I found one like this one here where it talks about why. But even this one goes on to talk about, legal experts. Some guy who passed the bar when he was 23 and is now 55 and works for our news company says that he agrees with our statement. Oh, surprise, surprise. All right, so I guess we'll see what happens. I am hopeful that this was all intentional. Because the unbelievable amount of billionaire trolling that could be done, that has not been done, this would live up to my expectations, and that's an interesting thing. I think I heard it recently on a different podcast where they were saying, it's quite interesting to me that all of these billionaires actually play by the rules, that they actually play the game, right? Why isn't there more Elon Musks out there smoking weed on podcasts and, giving the middle finger to all the major corporations that are out there and building flamethrowers because it's cool? Like, being the billionaire, the 13-year-old you that aspired to be a billionaire wanted you to be, not some, lame ass old dude who just does exactly what, his political alignments want him to do. I don't know. But anyways, I hope this was all intentional. I hope it was a long-term troll by Elon Musk, because that would literally be the greatest thing ever. And I wonder what the legal, if any, ramifications would be if he said this to begin with. I was going to buy you if you had legitimate numbers, but I knew you wouldn't.